Welcome once again to SoCo Chat, a podcast where we hear directly from county leaders, discuss the latest news, and talk about all things concerning our beautiful corner of California known as Sonoma County.
Welcome back to SoCo Chat. I am your host today, Karina Garcia, Communications Specialist for the County of Sonoma. Thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about one of the North Bay's biggest public projects, the Sonoma-Marin Area Rail Transit System, or SMART for short. This regional agency began passenger rail services in 2017 and now operates trains along a 45-mile corridor between Marin and Sonoma counties, stretching from Larkspur in the south to Windsor in the north. More than 4,700 riders are now taking the train every day, and that's a record number. Our guest today is Eddy Cumins, the General Manager of SMART. We'll talk with him about the future of rail in the North Bay, how SMART fits into the region's transportation goals, and why this project matters to everyone who lives here, whether you ride the train every day or have yet to step on board. But before we get on to Eddy, we'd like to give our community the opportunity to win with SoCo Chat. And the way you win is by answering our trivia question. And the question is the following. How many stations does SMART currently serve in Sonoma and Marin counties? If you think you know the answer, please call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs, one word, @sonomacounty.gov. And if you listen in, Eddy perhaps maybe give you a hint. Right, Eddy? Thank you, Eddy, for joining us on SoCo Chat. Welcome. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Excellent. Well, I'm really excited to get into our conversation, Eddy, and learn more about SMART and how people can enjoy it. But first of all, let's get into something personal. What drew you first into public transit, and what was the journey like to become general manager of SMART?
Well, it's interesting. It obviously wasn't planned.
Okay.
So I'm originally from Oklahoma. I joined the military straight out of high school, 18 years old, ended up serving a 20-year career. My background...
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. My background was in vehicle maintenance.
Okay.
And so when I originally made the decision to retire from the Air Force, I was in Okinawa, Japan. I was searching for a job. I ran across a maintenance manager position at the Utah Transit Authority.
Okay.
I applied for that position. They hired me. I served in that role for 2 years, and then I was promoted to be a regional general manager where I ran the bus service for the northern 3 counties of the UTA district. And then I served in that role for 5 years, and then I was promoted to chief operating officer. And I was serving in that role when I got a call from a recruiter asking me if I was interested in running a commuter rail. And the first question I ask, of course, is where's it at? Because I'd received those calls before, but they were generally like on the East Coast.
Okay.
And I always told everybody, if it's colder than Utah, I'm out, right? But he said, Sonoma Marin, right?
Yeah.
And I was floored because this is a place that my wife and I used to vacation. We vacationed here several times. And so always dreamed and thought about what it would be like to live here. And so
now it's your home.
We jumped on the opportunity, and it's just been fantastic. We love it here.
That's wonderful. Well, tell me a little bit about your philosophy and how it shapes the way SMART operates today.
I think my philosophy when it comes to management is about creating a winning culture, right? I want people to feel good about what they're accomplishing. So at SMART, we measure everything. I believe you have to have some kind of carrot that's out there.
Yeah.
So we do measure everything. Just as an example, at 4:30 a.m. every morning, my whole team receives an email of yesterday's ridership. And if it's a great day, the text messages start flying.
That's
right?
great.
And everybody's excited about what we accomplished. And so we're always looking at numbers. We're always trying to improve, but it's that sense of continuous improvement. Everybody wanting to win, everybody knowing what the goal is, and then elevating those goals over time, right? And always trying to get better every day.
That's wonderful. And you have a record number right now with over, 4,700 riders.
Absolutely. And I think that number is going up, right? We've seen a bump this week with school back in session.
Okay.
Marin school started today. I anticipate that at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'm going to see another bump. And so, yes, we are on a roll right now, and it's really fantastic. And it's awesome because we truly have a great team at Smart.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
leadership as well. And Eddie, Smart recently secured an $81 million award from the state of California to extend service north to Healdsburg. Can you walk us through what this milestone means and the system for the communities?
Well, it's more progress. You know, we just finished up our Windsor station. That was a big milestone for us. But the whole time that we were constructing Windsor, we were working on securing grants and the dollars to go to Healdsburg. And so it was kind of the joke around the office is we didn't even really have an opportunity to take a breath because as soon as Windsor was done, we cut the ribbon and we started working on Healdsburg. We are planning to offer or award a contract at our September board meeting for the contract to Healdsburg. So people are going to start seeing orange vests out and about really soon. Construction will be starting. And our goal right now is to be picking up and dropping off customers in Healdsburg by the end of 2028.
That's wonderful. Well,
Absolutely.
good luck with that. Yes. And you mentioned the Windsor station recently opened. What has the response been like so far?
It's been absolutely incredible. We call it the Windsor effect.
Oh, nice.
We actually have a name for it. And the reason is because as soon as Windsor opened, we saw about a 700 rider a day bump immediately. And it's just been incredible. It's really changed just the way people are moving around and what they're doing. And Windsor's a cool town. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And I think there's obviously a lot of people that are leaving out of there to go other places, but there's a lot of people that are going in just to enjoy the restaurants and the shopping,
Absolutely.
so on and so forth. So it's been really good. It's also the interesting thing that has happened, at least in the first couple of months here, is that Santa Rosa downtown has now become our #1 station.
Oh,
So before that, it was Petaluma downtown. But with the Windsor effect, it is beginning to look like that is now Santa Rosa downtown, which is awesome for Santa Rosa.
That is amazing, yes. And looking further ahead, Eddie, I know that Smart's vision has always included Cloverdale. Tell us a little bit about the timeline.
Well, it's hard for me to give a date to people. I get asked that question on a regular basis. When are you getting to Cloverdale? It's hard for me to give, and say it's going to be 2 years or 5 years or whatever it's going to be. And the reason is because it's funding dependent. We've got to get those grant dollars to be able to get that done.
Right.
Something that happened this year that was a huge win that didn't get a lot of attention. It's not something that makes one of those sexy headlines, but we got Cloverdale into the regional transportation plan. That's a huge step because what that does is that allows you to compete for state and federal grants.
Okay.
Right. So before, the way that it worked is if you're not in the regional transportation plan and you're filling out a grant application, it asks that question. And if you can't check yes, then you can't move forward.
I see.
So that's a big opportunity for us. And so we feel really good about our chances of getting that funded soon. We're planning to run the same play.
Yeah.
While we're building Healdsburg, we're going to be working on getting the funding to go on to Geyserville and eventually Cloverdale.
And speaking of funding, who pays for Smart?
Smart is funded by a 1/4-cent sales tax, which means for every $100 that somebody spends on taxable goods, Smart gets 25 cents.
Okay.
And that's how we're funded. One thing that we do is that, so the sales tax mostly funds operations, right? But we also use a portion of that money as local match to compete for grants, right?
Okay.
And so what's been very interesting is since the beginning of Smart, we have doubled the taxpayers' investment, which means for every dollar that we've got in sales tax since 2008, we have brought in outside dollars, either state or federal dollars that have been brought into our community, and those dollars have been spent and invested back into Sonoma and Marin counties. So that's something that we're very proud of,
Right.
that we're bringing those fundings from outside sources into our area.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Your 1/4-cent sales tax expires in 3 years. Why should voters support renewing this tax, and what's at stake if it's not renewed?
Well, I will start with the second part of your question. I mean, there is no plan B, right? Every transit agency in the country is subsidized in some way, shape, or form. I just came from a Rotary meeting where I was presenting, and I was asked the question, how much longer until Smart becomes profitable?
Yeah.
And the truth is, transit is never profitable, right? It's more of a utility type thing. But yeah, there is a citizens initiative that's out there right now.
Okay.
It's important for people to know and understand that is very different from SMART putting it on the ballot, right?
Okay.
And so we're not directly involved in that. This is a citizens-led initiative. They have to collect signatures to make this eligible for the ballot. My understanding is they need a little over 48,000 signatures to qualify for the ballot. So that's underway right now, and that going that route does lower the threshold. Instead of a 2/3, it would require 50% plus one.
Wow. Thank you so much for giving all that information, important information our community needs to be aware of. Now, Eddy, beyond moving people, SMART is also building bike and pedestrian pathways as part of the project. Why was that integration important, and how do you see the rail and trail working together to serve our residents?
Well, they're one and the same. I don't think as SMART as a rail line or a pathway. I think of all of it as the SMART system, and that's the rail and the pathway.
Yeah.
And so our pathway is a very important component of our system. It provides first and last mile. It enhances mobility. It allows people to get to and from our stations. Just a lot of things. And it's something that we track. We've had record number, I talk about ridership, right, which has been awesome, but we've had record number of pathway users, pathway trips. In FY25, we had over 1 million pathway trips counted.
That's
impressive.
impressive.
So it's absolutely impressive. And so some of those folks are using that to commute. Some are getting back to and from the station. Some people are using it for, leisurely travel.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, for those who have not taken the train yet, what is the experience like? Tell us.
It's incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's incredible. When I first got here, I used to run into folks all the time. And, they would tell me what they thought was wrong with the train or what we could do better or whatever. So I'd always ask people, okay, but have you ridden it? And almost all the time they would say, no, I've never ridden the train. So at the time, I used to carry around free passes in my pocket, and I would give them a pass. Say, you go ride it. The next time you and I run into each other, if you still hate the train, then I won't say another word. But here's what happened. When I would run into these people again, they would say, I rode the train. It was incredible. I had no idea. It was fantastic. It was clean. It was comfortable. It was quiet. And then they would always say to me, have you ever seen the area between Petaluma and Novato?
Wow.
And I would say, yep.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. If you've never seen that, you can only see it from the train. It's on the other side. The freeway's on one side of the hill.
Right.
The rail line's on the other side. But it's absolutely beautiful back there. And the only way you're going to see it is on the SMART train.
Wow.
And so it's been really good. But people, they have in their mind what they think it's going to be like. But once they get on, they find out that it's wonderful. And that's what's happening right now. People are riding the train. They're telling their friends. And there's just a ton of positive energy about the SMART train right now.
And it's convenient, accessible. I'd love to encourage our community members to go out and take a ride. I know you have several stations throughout, Sonoma-Marin connecting us. And tell us about the fares and the passes. I know you have a few options.
Yeah, something that we're really proud of is, it's probably a couple of years ago, we started looking at our monthly pass sales. We noticed they'd gone down since the pandemic. And without a doubt, travel patterns changed with the pandemic.
Right.
People aren't going to the office 5 days a week anymore.
Right.
A lot of times it's only 3. And I believe we were maybe the first transit agency in the country to actually acknowledge that and say, you know what? We are going to price our monthly pass based on a 3-day commute rather than a 5-day commute.
Okay.
So we dropped the price of that pass, and we saw numbers go up, which was great. Our board has approved free fare for youth and seniors.
That's right.
That's been great. It's been awesome. I mean, it's unbelievable of how many people are taking advantage of that. The last time I looked at this, youth ridership was up over 100%.
Amazing.
And senior ridership was up over 70%.
Yeah.
And so it's just this incredible number. And I had a board member call me just a while back and ask me if Petaluma downtown was now the new school drop-off. And it's true. Parents are pulling in. They're dropping their kids off. They're hopping on the train, and they're going to school in both directions. Some are going north. Some are going south. So it's just really incredible. But what means more to me than anything is that mom and dad trust us.
That
with
is
their
very
kids.
true. Yes.
They know that it's safe. They know that we have our conductors walking, and it's just been incredible. And we love having them on board with us.
That is fabulous. I need to get all my nieces and nephews and just take a ride, on the
Absolutely.
weekend. Of course, they'll be at school during the day.
Yeah.
But And for as little as 75 cents, and depending on the zone, I know it's based on zone, for as little as 75 cents, you can take a ride.
Yeah,
And-
so it's actually, just to make sure I'm clear on that one, so it's $1.50 a zone, right? So it just depends on the number of zones that you go. And then if if there's a discount pass in there, like for
yes.
something along those would be 75, but it is $1.50 a zone.
Right. I understand that disabled or Medicare
exactly.
could go for as little as 75 cents. So definitely go online. Your website, sonomamarintrain.org, for more information and to get your passes. I know you have 31-day passes, weekend passes, and daily passes. So
Rail
please.
and Sail.
That's true.
Rail and Sail is a
Yes.
great one. A lot of people take advantage of that one. And so that gets you a pass on the Smart Train as well as the ferry.
Wonderful. And the phone number for those that love to call and get information, 707-794-3330. All right. Now, Eddie, some people see SMART as a commuter rail, others as a recreational or tourism driver. How do you balance those roles, and which do you think is more important in the North Bay?
So I see us as a community train, not a commuter rail. I think that this is, I'm glad you're asking this question, because I think this has been a big part of our success. Because what we have done recently, if you look at everything that we've implemented over the past several years, it's been about focusing on the whole community. We're not just focusing on commuters. Obviously, we want to be there for them.
Right.
We want to take them to and from work. But we also realize that this is a huge recreational community. We have a lot of tourism. And we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the entire community.
That's great.
And that's the way that we have really been focused. And when I first got here, we did a series of listening sessions. One of them was on ridership. And it was interesting to me because we had people call in and they started talking about, and I started hearing over and over and over, we need more midday service. Well, as a commuter rail, that's not something you typically think about,
Right.
because you're a commuter rail, right? You take people to work in the morning, you take them home in the afternoon. But we took a look at that and we said, okay, well, maybe we're missing the boat here. So we added midday service. It took off.
Wow.
Right? And so today we have people that are riding at 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the midday. Our peak right now is actually at 2:23 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Which is incredible. And so just making these changes, focusing on the whole community. I mean, we've already talked about it a little bit, but we have commuters riding, right? That's always the bread and butter.
Right.
But then we also have students, we have seniors, we have all these different types of people riding the train on a daily basis. So if you get on the train, it's a very diverse population.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful that you're paying attention to those patterns and shifting, not only after the pandemic, but just on a daily basis, watching what people are doing and how you can better serve our community. Thank you. That means a lot. What keeps you up at night when it comes to SMART, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing?
Honestly, it's continuous improvement. I mean, I know that sounds a little crazy, but we've got a ton of momentum. We're setting records every week, every month, every day, right? All this new stuff, but that starts to weigh on you over time because now we've got to this point. Now I have to think about things like, okay, do we have enough service? Do I have enough frequency? Right? Is there enough trains running? Do we have capacity? Because we're starting to run into capacity issues, right? All these different things of just what's next. Obviously, we have to continue to complete our projects on time, on budget. That's what the community expects of us. They expect us to run a great service. They expect us to continue to expand. They expect us to continue to get stuff done. And that's our focus. That's what we take that charge very serious.
Yes.
But knowing that you have got to continue that, sometimes that can keep you up at night.
I bet. And so if we're looking 10 years into the future, Eddie, what would you like people to say about the way that SMART is shaping Sonoma-Marin?
It's a good question. I would want people to say that SMART was a solution and that they're happy they made the investment.
Okay.
I think in 10 years, I do think the SMART train is in Cloverdale. I think the system is complete. I think the pathway is completed. And I think people are looking back and saying, wow, I'm sure glad we invested in that.
Wow, that's wonderful. As a bonus and maybe fun fact, we obviously have a lot of teams, sports here in the Bay Area. One of them is the Giants, San
Love the
Francisco
Giants.
Giants. Many people don't know that you can take the train to watch a Giants game. The Giants Ferry, which is hands down one of the most pleasant ways to get to Oracle Park, is just a short walk from SMART. But what happens if a game goes into extra innings?
Oh, good point. So we watch things very closely, but let me add a little bit to what you said just to make sure we're really clear. So, Yes, we run service down, and you can connect either one of two ways. You can either take the regular ferry over and walk down to the stadium,
Okay.
or you can take the Giants ferry, and it'll take you straight up to the
Right.
stadium. You can choose to walk because it's a beautiful walk, but Smart also now has what we call Smart Connect. It's an orange on-demand van that if you're challenged or don't want to walk or run a little late, you can hop in this van. It'll get you down to the ferry and get you back
great. Yeah.
when you come back. So here's the secret. This is what we do. We have several people who are monitoring the game during the day, and we have to make a decision as to when we're going to send the 3-car train, because we have to send a bigger train to get all those folks,
I
because a
see.
lot of people take advantage. And so about the 7th inning, 6th to 7th inning, we have to make a call. And we're generally right. We've been wrong once or twice, right? But generally, we're right. However, those comebacks in the 8th or 9th inning can wreak havoc. But we try to send that 3-car train to make sure we have plenty of room for everybody. The other thing is that if the ferry is running just a little bit late, we can hold that train for a few minutes.
Okay.
And so we are in constant communication with the ferry. We're finding out when it's going to arrive. We know about how long it's going to take people to get up to the station. And so we're monitoring that closely, and we can hold that train for just a little while to make sure we get everybody on there.
So much fun. You are taking care of the community, whether they're going to work, going to school, just enjoying a day of leisure, or going to a game, right?
That's it.
That's amazing.
Again, we're here to serve the whole community.
That's wonderful. Eddy, thank you so much. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and we'd like to thank you for joining us on SoCo Chat. And as a gratitude, we'd like to present you with a SoCo Chat mug. It's also bilingual, SoCo Chat de Español on one side.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
you can remember your time
Thank
here
you.
on SoCo Chat. Thank you
you
for your time. And to our folks listening to SoCo Chat, we'd love to give you the opportunity as well to win SoCo Chat mug. Answering the question, and this week's question is, how many stations does SMART currently serve in Sonoma and Marin counties? You could also go to sonomamarintrain.org and perhaps look online. If you know the answer, call us at 707-565-2242 or send us an email with your answer at publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. And we'd also love to hear from you for future topics or suggestions. Any comments, please send us an email at that same address, publicaffairs@sonomacounty.gov. And don't forget to listen on our various channels on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and YouTube. My name is Karina Garcia. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Eddy.
Thank you.